Welcome to Market Buzz. I'm Greg Schnell, the Canadian technician and host of the Market Buzz. Each show we do a deep dive into different industries using weekly charts to see what is happening on a long timeline. Please follow me on Twitter at Schnell Investor, and you can also find my blogs on GregSchnell.com as well as StockCharts.com. So this week I want to cover off, we've got a rally going, I want to cover off something old starts to shine. And some of my gold setups are starting to work, and I know it's early, but that's kind of the idea, is to catch the early part of the trend and not wait for everything to hit 52-week highs, especially in commodities. So I like to get in a little bit earlier. These trades were setting up for me for the last week and a half, and are now starting to kick up. So we're going to go take a look at that. And if you want to know anything more about my website, I was having a March Madness sale. You're welcome to continue to receive that if you're interested. GregSchnell.com/explore. But it would, obviously, what I would set up for my members is that they would go in and have access to these trade ideas early. So here's the Gold Miners ETF, and you can just see today starting to break out to new highs. And one of the reasons I particularly like this setup was that the PPO made a nice higher low here and looks like it turned up and wanted to go higher. So that was a good thing for me. And I have another, I have a whole group of charts obviously, but this particular group of charts I want all of these things to break above the 20-day moving average on the charts, and as they start to break out, that gives me a buy signal. So when I look at the picture for gold, I want to make sure that all of these things are happening. And we got a period in here for 2 or 3 weeks where it started to run and then it just fell apart again. But at least it tries to keep you on the right side of the trade. Nothing's magical, but you just need a few things to kind of all line up and say, yeah, there's something going on here. And that's kind of where we are with the gold trade. So again, here's the GDX, which is the Gold Miners ETF. I perfectly realize it's out of favor. The scooter ranking is near zero. One of the things that when we look at it on a weekly basis, one of the things you'll find out about gold is it will, for a long period of time it tracked down, and that was in I'll call it a terrible commodity environment. And then we had a nice big 2-year run, and then we've had about a 8-month pullback, 9-month pullback, and we're just starting to move back above the 20-day moving average or the 10-week moving average. So all kinds of things are setting up. My PPO is getting across this week on the Gold Miners Index, so it's one of the places that I'm looking, and if this is going to start to work for me, at least we're in relatively close. We can set our stops tight, and if it starts to take off to the upside, we've got a nice setup here for a trade. There's a couple of other things going on around the trade. US dollars getting interesting in terms of reaching a little bit of a resistance area. All of the other commodities have been running. Industrial commodities are starting to move again. So in general, I like the commodities. Again, I like to avoid them when they're going down and ride them when they're going up. And so this is one of the areas that I'm interested in because it also has quite a bit of torque. From $16 to $45 was a 200% move. If you were in for the whole thing, which I wouldn't have been, there's no way I would have sat through this ride. But trying to ride the gold while it's going up and stay away from it while it's going down is a pretty simple strategy. Okay, so what I've done here, and I know on the intro I talk about setting it up on weekly charts. We can briefly do that. What I've set up here is just a bunch of different indicators, and the green band here is a Keltner channel. And what I like, the way I've set it up is relatively tight rather than wide, and I use it like a support ribbon to support a trade. And then I've just got different periods of momentum. So MACD, this is a 50-100 versus a PPO at 12 and 26. And what you can see, it's been staying positive the whole time on this stock. pretty good look. And then I have a really short-term PPO that's just helping me with a tighter time frame. So anyway, we're going to just quickly look through view all on some of these, and I'll show you why I'm starting to get interested. Capstone in particular is a little bit of a copper mining stock. So you got a PPO starting to turn up. That looks pretty good to me. Here's China Gold International Resources. So this is one of the better performing gold miners. Obviously, this run up here from the beginning of the year was pretty nice, consolidating sideways in a pennant pattern. And if we get our PPO turning up higher, that would be a nice place to get on board. Here's Turquoise Hill Resources. And again, you can see a trend of higher lows, and to me it looks like it's probably going to blow out the top again. Taseko Mines, this one's also in industrial metals, had pulled back nicely, just got a PPO cross today, and would like to see that accelerate up. Sibanye-Stillwater, this one's trying to break through to new all-time highs, PPO just turning up. Niocorp Developments, this one, I particularly find these ones interesting, and one of the problems obviously is the terribly low volume, 77,000 shares, and here's the volume scale on the left-hand side, and you can see it had two remarkably big bars in here as price shot up, but I'm more interested that price shot up and it started to assemble sideways. The problem I have is that the volume is so light. I don't want to take a position either that small in a stock, and this is just a penny stock, it's $1.30. But if you got $1 stock and it's only trading 77,000 shares a day, let's call it whatever, by the end of, so this is being recorded midday on Tuesday. If you're not going to get up in the 500,000, a million shares a day on a penny stock, that's way too light a liquidity for me. So here's Go Gold Resources, and this one is starting to make a nice move out of the base here. Just a good push up. You can see a long downtrend on the PPO, started to make a higher low, and it's this particularly higher low that I like as the rest of the charts are starting to set up. First Majestic Silver. Silver's been really wonky. Hasn't been falling as much as gold, but it did get all the way down here to the 100-period moving average. It's just moving above my Keltner band again. And when you look back here, you can see that this is a 10 million share per day sort of stock. It's only done 3 million so far today, but at least you got some liquidity. So if you step into the stock and don't like it, you can get back out. But I'm getting a PPO buy signal today. So it's that looks pretty good to me. Here's First Majestic Silver Corp, and again, some of these are U.S. listed, right? With just the two-letter symbol, and then the Canadian ones have the .TO on the end. So same stock, duly listed on two exchanges, Canada and the U.S. So looking at them on both sides of the border. And this one has a downtrend on the PPO here. Looks like it's just getting our PPO cross turning to the upside and wants to start to break out. Altius Minerals, this one's got a variety of mining ideas. The stock moved really nicely off December into February, and remember, a lot of the gold names were going down in here, but some of the industrial metals were doing better. So anyway, this one accelerated up. It's chopped around for the last 2 months, and perhaps with the advent of all of these other stocks starting to perk up, this one will continue, but it's up 3% on the day. Looking in at Endeavour Silver, again trying to bounce off the 100-period moving average. I fully get it. A lot of these have chopped back and forth, and we're going to go look at the weekly charts in just a little bit. But I just want to show you some of the top performers. They've been setting up, with consolidation patterns up in the top right-hand corner of the chart and trying to break back out. Whereas if we go all the way down to the bottom of the list, obviously we've got stocks in downtrends that probably aren't changing. So here's Avino Silver and Gold Mines. So something ballistic goes off on the stock, and who knows? It could have been the Reddit trade. Doesn't really matter. The bottom line is, price is consolidating now into a tight range here between $1.40, $1.50, or $1.60. And if this can start to break out to the upside, I'd like to be on board with that. Just go back here. PPO is just giving us a cross for the first time since whatever. I think this was our first positive cross in early February. So 6 weeks later, late February, 6 weeks later, it's starting to head higher. Rox Gold has been really choppy of late. I got in it on this way up, got out of it on the way down, and now it's going to take off without me. I won't be back in that one. The chop is pretty major, but I do like the way the stock is starting to try and break through to new 6-month highs. It doesn't have very far to go, and could give you some torque to the upside. Here's Dynacor Gold Mines. It's been spiking higher, and today it's up 5%. Starting to move up nicely. A-Mark Precious Metals, trying to find support here, but really a choppy looking chart, not my favorite actually. Premier Gold, I have a lot of charts like this where they've come down and they're trying to double bottom or make a bottom in here. So you have your base, you come down. It tests slightly lower, so anybody who would set their stop in here gets cleaned out, and now it's ready to go higher with a lot of people who aren't as I'll call it fine-tuned. Coeur d'Alene Mining, just horizontal for the last 6 months, even though gold has had a drop. And again, this is the gold miners dropping like this. Here's the chart of gold. Same sort of thing. So since August of last year, it was up around, call it $2,000, and has pulled back into the $1,700 range. This is GOLD, but we could also jump over to dollar gold. So 2,100, 2,090, and just sitting here for 6 weeks around the 1,700 level. It doesn't seem like it wants to sell off anymore. Anyway, it's a good place to look if you're interested in trading commodities. I like them because I think they can have lots of spark to the upside, and you have an opportunity to change in and change out. Okay, so let's go back. And so this Coeur d'Alene Mining, well, gold's been going sideways. This has done the same thing. We could draw a pennant pattern on here. And what we're looking for, obviously, is that the stock finally gets enough momentum to carry it back through the highs. And as it starts to break out, get on board. And we're starting to see some of the stocks doing that. Here's Argonaut Gold with a nice move yesterday and a follow-on move today. But just, turning up all of the indicators, all of the moving averages are starting to turn up here. PPO has gone positive. Long-term MACD is starting to show positive spacing. On Hecla Mining, again, a sideways consolidation. Trying to break out today, get back above that sideways Keltner band. I like it when the whole group is trying to do it at the same time, so that would be the difference between, I'll call it this one, and some of these rallies that we're back in here. Newmont trying to break out to new, call it 2-month highs, and it wouldn't take much to get it to 3-month highs. The big downtrend had already been broken, rallied, pulled back, and looks like it's taking off now. PPO at a higher level, starting to wind higher. What's not to like about that? Franco-Nevada, isn't that a nice smooth chart, right? It's in a downtrend, now it's in an uptrend. You just draw your line underneath it or use your Keltner band, and as long as it holds, just try and hold the trade. Look at the MACD giving you this change in perspective, and off it goes. Very smooth looking chart. Fortuna Silver, these are big pushes, $7.50 to $9 already. That's a 20% move in 3 or 4 days. I wouldn't have picked the bottom, but I do like the fact that my PPO downtrend looks like it's starting to break. We've got a positive cross here, and I'd be more interested again because everything else is starting to push higher. Osisko Gold Royalties, 2-month highs today, pushing up, moving above the 100-period moving average. Looks pretty good. McEwen Mining, this is a really small cap in $1, $1.50, up to $2. I think this was the Reddit trade where it went ballistic, pulled back, And now it looks like it's trying to set up here again, breaking this downtrend. PPO giving us a positive cross. This is everything I like to look for setups. And again, I like to buy commodities near the low, sell them near the highs, not try to wait for 52-week breakouts after they've obviously run a couple 100%. Franco-Nevada Corp, again, this is the US ticker. FNV, the one that was 2 up here. Where'd it go? Lost it. There it is, Franco-Nevada. This was the Canadian side, so just be aware. I've put them both in the group. There's people on both sides of the border watching these. So if you're interested, just make sure you pick the ticker symbol on your side of the border. But you could see MACD, wasn't able to get into positive territory. Now it is. So there's definitely a momentum trend changing. Victoria Gold Corp, so far winding sideways, but literally a move of $1 would put it into new 5 or 6 month highs there, and that's a pretty nice move. Goldfields moving into new 4 month highs, so that's a nice look. El Dorado still downtrending here, maybe a little early, but at least you can see the histograms getting less negative on momentum every time. So that's nice. El Dorado Gold, I don't like the chart. I'd probably avoid that. Newmont Mining trying to break out to new multi-month highs. If it got up a little bit here, it's going to be at 2 month highs, and a little bit more, another $1 or $2, it's going to be at 4 month highs. So looks to me like it's starting to turn around, and this histogram here is showing that it's starting to get more momentum than it's had in a long period of time. Pan American Silver really trying to hold this base at $37 and now trying to spark to the upside. You can see a downtrend here that we're starting to break through. Stock's making a nice move. Royal Gold, this is at new 3 month highs. Nice little push here, so that's starting to get going. Lundin Gold, just 1 month highs up against the 100 period moving average. Obviously, it's been downtrending with the price of gold. Trying to get above this Keltner band. It's done it for 3 days in a row here. Now we'd like to see it move up a little bit more. And you can see the MACD histogram on that is just starting to show positive signs. Dundee Precious Metals, just another one here. PPO has turned up, hasn't quite gone into positive territory, moving above the Keltner band. And again, it's this whole moving gold that I want to get the thrust, right? It's based on charts with other indicators all starting to move up together, various different ways of looking at gold to give us the clues that things are starting to improve. Pan American Silver, this is the US listing, starting to kick up here. Nice big positive day, up 5% or 4.5%. Oceana Gold Corp, big jump off the base here, up 9%. So starting to make a big move. There was a downtrend in play here that's starting to break. And PPO turning up very close to the 100 period moving average. Would like to see that get higher. New Gold mine over in Rainy River, I believe, and it's up 8.5%. Nice big push today. PPO is making a higher low, giving us a positive cross. Looks like it wants to start to turn up. Alamos Gold moving to new 2 month highs, really starting to take off to the upside. AngloGold Ashanti was up at 23.50, pulling back today. I still think you want to look at it in this area in here as it starts to run. So we'll just see if that one can get a little bit of a bid coming. Asanko Gold, this one downtrending here, just trying to break through that downtrend. It's been pretty much horizontal at the $140, $150 level for 4 months. Can it finally break out? Got a nice double bottom base here. PPO trying to make a higher low, shooting up. I know for growth investors that are off in the tech space, there's still room. I like Apple and Google and Microsoft and Facebook and all of that kind of thing. If you're looking for a little more swing trading, I like commodities for doing that. I think there's an opportunity here. Grand Colombia Gold Corp, got your big downtrend starting to break right here. PPO trying to make a higher low, starting to turn up. Haven't quite got the histogram into positive territory. But this stock was $8.20, dropped down to $5.40. You're sitting at call it 580. A move up there is 50%, so that would be pretty nice. Endeavour Mining, big downtrend here, trying to break out, needs to get above this 100-period moving average one more time. Histogram has moved up into the highest level it's been at on the chart. New Gold, this is the Canadian version. We already talked about the other one. Oceana Gold, we already talked about it. Nova Gold Resources. So again, a 3-month plateau here right around 975. Can we start to get a push to the upside? It looks pretty nice to me. PPO's been staying below zero for 6 months. Now bouncing off the zero line, wants to start to head higher. That's a nice place to at least look at it. There's the Canadian listing for Nova Gold. Goro, which is Gold Resource Corp, starting to try and turn higher. Now here's Mag Silver. This one's very volatile, but lots of upside if it works. Just bottomed out here at $18 and trying to turn higher. Torex Gold, new 2-month highs or 6-week highs, starting to push up. Wouldn't take much. It's got to get through that 100-period moving average, and then it would be above everything. Wheaton Precious Metals, big downtrend here. To me, this looks like it's ready to go. Very popular name to trade. It's got lots of volume, roughly 1 million a day. So that's okay. And PPO moving into positive territory. Now I'm going to take these charts. Let's just grab one of them and go down here. Well, actually, let's go up here, and we're going to set it to a weekly chart. Don't really need 3 years or 5 years of information, so let's just set it at 3 years. And then we're going to change that on every chart by apply style to all. So it'll take everything from the daily it was on and make it now a weekly chart. And we can go back now and just look at some of these other charts. And one of the reasons that I like the setup is the weekly starting to improve, mostly on momentum. But here's Capstone Mining. I think that's an uptrend. From March lows down here at 33 cents to 450 and climbing. They've got a new mine opening, so lots going on there. The volume's still very positive in the last few months. So I like that. Let's go to view all, just click on 10 per page. The point I want to show you on some of these mining stocks, so this China Gold, the PPO is actually rolling down, but on a lot of them it's actually starting to turn up. Here's Taseko Mines. It's been a strong stock, pulled back, just going sideways in momentum, but at a very high level. So up around 15% here. When a stock has that much momentum, it's still positive, even though the PPO is sideways. What you don't want to find is when this PPO comes down and then loses momentum and immediately starts to drop again. That can be a really good place to make sure you've got your stops in place. Here's Sibanye Stillwater, pretty much sideways momentum at 10%, but that still means it's climbing nicely. Look at the scooter ranking. Regardless of what gold has done, this is held up here as one of the best stocks in the US under the mid caps, and it's had a strong scooter ranking for almost 3 years. That's pretty crazy. And here's Neocorp developments. Again, we've looked at some of these stocks before, but you can see the stock was doing nothing, all of a sudden goes ballistic. It just doesn't have the volume for me. Here's Go Gold Resources. So pull down, bounce back up, and now looks to me like it wants to start turning higher again. Full Stow bouncing at 50. These are kind of typically strong traits of stocks that are in bull markets. They'll pull back to the 50 level on the full stochastic and then resurge higher. First Majestic, this one's got a nice big uptrend and momentum going. Can it just turn here and keep going or stay up here around the 10%? It doesn't look like any of this chart's being broken, so pretty much like the trend. Altius Minerals, same thing here, big uptrend and momentum, hovering at a nice high level. Gave us a brief pullback and now looks like it wants to surge higher again, trying to bottom around this 50% level. Maybe what I'll do, let's just go back a little bit. One thing I'll show you is just go to these stocks, whatever, out here in the middle of the listing. What you see is the PPO is coming down and is trying to base down here. And as it starts to turn higher, that's the kind of area that starts to look better. So here's one where the PPO is coming down and just starting to turn up, sitting in around this $9, $10 level from 17. So again, all of a sudden you get a nice turn and a solid entry. It wouldn't take much to get to new 3-month highs. This Cartier Resources pretty much moving sideways for the last 3 months in terms of momentum. It's only a 30-cent stock, so we'll move on and not discuss it too much here. Entree Gold, a lot of these gold miners are juniors before they get bought up by the big guys, but this stock's got a trending momentum wave going higher and higher, so that looks pretty bullish. Entree Gold, again, moving up, but not very much in terms of percentage. It doesn't have a scooter ranking. So we can actually go through these charts here. They were sorted by scooter ranking. So here you see this downtrend, PPO trying to bottom. I just want to get to the bottom of the listing here, and we're going to go back to, call it 5 or 6, where there is a scooter ranking. And as these PPOs are starting to bottom, you're getting this kind of a clue off a weekly chart. I particularly like that. I'm not looking to play the trend intraday or whatever. I would like to find a nice base here where it's starting to work higher. These momentum waves, they occur roughly once a year. Not a bad place to get. This was a false breakout, right? So it came down, started to turn up and failed. So here you need your stop. Here it ends up running up pretty nicely. Get a nice big move, rolls back over. I would be out because the PPO is selling off now. It starts to consolidate right around 0, turning up here. That looks to me this nice higher low. I like that. So here we are coming down. The real question is, how much does it turn higher? We don't know that. But in general, I like the way the whole group is setting up. Look at the volume coming in on here. So lots of reasons to start to like the stock. New Gold I mentioned earlier, PPO trying to bounce at 0. That looks pretty good. Oceana Gold, again, trying to make a higher low here. Looks pretty nice to me. Starting to get that upturn. You can set your stop relatively tight. Nova Gold Resources, so pulling down, PPO giving you a positive cross. This is the type of trend line setup that I like to look at a lot for commodities, and we got it in the oil section in the fall, and it gave us some really nice attractive entries. You're getting PPO cross, you're breaking the downtrend in momentum, which is almost a year long. As this starts to fire higher, I'd like to be a participant if I think gold is ready to go higher. And again, I've got other charts kind of giving me those clues. So if you're interested in more information, you can head over to Schnell.com. There's lots of stuff there. We just did our monthly conference call, generating some different ideas. But I think the main point that I'd like to point out here is it looks like the market as a group wants to rally higher. When I go look at the S&P 500, though, just really quick, the big thing that I would be a little bit cautious of, nothing major, but a little bit cautious of, when we go on to a daily view here and we just put on Bollinger Bands, you can see that yesterday we jumped outside the Bollinger Bands. How often does that happen? Well, it happened once in September. It was a bit of a rough fall after that. And if we just open this chart up to 3 years, you'll see that standing outside the Bollinger Bands is a pretty rare appearance. So perhaps we've got a little bit of froth here, but again, the economy is just reopening, so I don't want to be too afraid of this because you can see it can run along the upside of the upper Bollinger Band for quite a while. Anyway, thanks for taking the time to join me on Market Buzz. Market Buzz airs Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. You can also see the recording on StockCharts TV YouTube page. Thanks for taking the time. Have a good week and good trading. Bye-bye.
Hey, Grayson Rose here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're going to bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.